What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today we are merging onto a busy ass highway in Greenville, South Carolina at 6:30 in the evening, so traffic sucks. But I wanted to make a video today around the wonderful and magnificent Ford F-150 that we are currently in. For those who are maybe new to the channel, I do drive a 2019 Ford F-150 XLT along with my 2022 Toyota Mark V Supra. And yes, if you've been with us for a while, you know that this channel has really been focused on the Supra as of late. And of course, you know, it comes for good reason, right? That car is awesome. That car is new to me. And there's a lot to talk about at the Toyota Supra platform, BMW, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I wanted to get back to the F-150 and really talk about maybe some of the reasons why this truck has not been on the channel and maybe solve some of those problems here today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So with this truck, and really the reason I bought this truck to begin with was, one, I love trucks. I think trucks are awesome. Specifically Fords, I think, are a great truck. Obviously, they're popular and heavy aftermarket support and blah, 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 blah. But when I bought the truck, we still had the 2019 Subaru WRX, and it was getting up there on miles, and I just wanted to have kind of my workhorse, if you will, to take some of the miles off of the Subi. Now, obviously, we've sold the Subaru and we now have the Supra, but the same thing still applies where, you know, this I would consider to be my daily driver in the sense not necessarily related to going to work. I like to drive both the truck and the Supra equally to work just for shits and giggles, get them out, whatever. But when we start taking road trips and stuff, this is what we do. It's huge. It's just my wife and I. We can pack down this truck way more than what we typically do, or what we could rather, for a road trip. But this thing's just so comfy. It rides smooth, whatever. And, you know, you're not packing yourself into a Supra or a BMW, a 430i for that matter, as far as my wife's car is concerned. Now, one thing about this truck, obviously, you know, early on, we did a lot to it as far as Rancho 3-inch lift kit. We did the Toyo Open Country AT335s on Method MR305s. We did the LED update for the headlights, taillights, and the third brake light. We did the tonneau cover, blah, 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 blah. But as far as I'm concerned, for a truck and truck modifications, that's really just scratching the surface of what we can do with this vehicle and to really make this a worthwhile endeavor for Gearbox. Now, that's not to say that the one and only reason that I buy cars and do what I do is for Gearbox, but to be honest with y'all, it's a pretty big portion of it. You know, I want to make sure that I enjoy the car myself just as much as y'all do, and you know, be able to push out the content that I would like to push out on this channel. So with that being said, really the F-150 kind of falls into this lull, let's call it, where we've done a lot to it, and it's definitely a unique-ish truck. And, you know, every time I walk up to it, every time I get in it, I'm like, damn, this truck is sexy, this truck is cool, whatever. But I'm kind of at a point, and I don't even want to say I get bored with it, but I want to continue to modify this truck and not just leave it sit as is, right? Now, before I get into any of this, and before y'all start popping off in the comments and so on and so forth, I really would like to not touch anything on this truck as it relates to the engine and the exhaust. I personally am not a fan of exhaust on trucks. I don't quite get it, unless you're trying to push power and stuff, of course. But like, for your everyday kind of daily drive workhorse like this is, exhaust does not make sense. Some of y'all might be saying, yeah, John, well, you threw on a cold air intake into this truck. Yeah, you're right. But I really just did that just to hear the turbos more, like, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't consider that some crazy ass, mod to the engine or anything of that nature. Now, really what that leaves by not touching those things is doing some sort of exterior modifications or upgrading suspension or doing interior stuff. Now, one thing that I have been considering for quite some time now is more on the exterior side of things. One story that I don't think I've told on this channel is probably a couple months ago at this point, I was actually rear-ended. It's kind of a long story. It wasn't my fault or anything, and it ultimately didn't do that much damage to the truck, but the rear right quarter of this rear bumper on this truck has a tiny little crease in it where someone with a bull bar barely tapped my bumper, and it was a hit and run, and I was super pissed and whatever. But for as long as I had been thinking about doing a bumper replacement on this truck, that kind of gave me a reason to really start thinking about it. And now that I'm at a place where, I have the Supra, I've done everything to the Supra that I want to, like, initially, and then now we have the truck that's been sitting kind of stagnant for a while. I want to start to explore my options for exterior, both rear and front bumper, as well as maybe some other stuff, whether it's exterior, interior, or whatever. And I'm really going to lean on you guys to help me kind of decide. Now, with the truck and with kind of my taste in mind, I really don't want anything that's super duper crazy out of the ordinary or whatever. I'm going to keep my wheels and tires. I'm not going to do anything stupid like get rid of those necessarily. So I don't foresee myself going crazy into any like off-road suspension or, anything like that. But I want to continue to build this truck and give it the attention that it deserves, to stay on the channel and give you guys content, and for my truck people out there, satisfy your needs as subscribers, hopefully, to Gearbox. And that's really where I'm at. So I guess right now I will go ahead and suggest, if any of y'all are truck people, and more specifically, if y'all are Ford F-150 people in this model year and whatever, with the Abyss Gray and blah, 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 black wheels, 35s, whatever, please drop some suggestions down below on bumpers. And ideally, I'm doing a front and rear bumper together, as in they are the same company, the same model or whatever, and one's for the front and one's for the rear, and that's just that. With that being said, I'm not opposed to mixing and matching, but I do not want to fall into the trap of this truck just looking like a sloppy piece of shit, some high schooler throwing eBay parts together. I want this thing to be nice and clean and whatever, but I also want people and myself to be able to look at it and say, you know what, that's a clean ass truck that I clearly know is aftermarket, but is not super gaudy and just shit, that it looks like shit. Like, that's not what I want. So we'll stop it right there. If you have suggestions, let me know. I'd be very, very curious. I know there are a shit ton of options out there, but I really need help on the bumper piece and maybe some other suggestions. Now, with the bumpers and the exterior stuff in mind, I've also thought about the bed of the truck. Now, am I the most, active with my truck as far as towing and hauling shit all the time? No. But what I do know is the bed liner in my 6'7" bed is that shitty ass plastic factory or factory OEM plus whatever bed liner, and it's not sprayed in, and it just drives me up a wall as I get cut off by some absolute piece of shit in a Lexus. But I've thought about redoing that too. Now, really the only, I guess, holdback I have on that is the fact that if that were to come off, the way that my tonneau cover is, installed in the truck, it pinches the bed and the tonneau together. So I would have to redo my tonneau, which to you guys might not sound like the biggest deal ever, but the tonneau cover, and I already went through this once because I bought the wrong tonneau, 5'7" instead of 6'7". The tonneau bolts use locking washers, as they should, but I will have to source locking washers for that, and getting those frickin' bolts off with the locking washers might do more damage to the tonneau than I'm willing to deal with. So that's another something to keep in mind. But once again, we're gonna focus on bumpers at this point, and maybe some other minor exterior stuff, badging or whatever. We've got the wheels, we got the tires, we got the trailer hitch, receiver, we've got the trailer hitch. I just want this truck to look really clean. And maybe this conversation also includes a grille replacement. I've thought about that a lot. Right now, I'm not super concerned with the chrome on the truck. Am I the biggest fan of chrome? No. But I do think the level of chrome on the truck currently, compared to the blackout, as far as the, the wheels, the windows, the this, the that, I do think the chrome right now has enough accent to it to make it work. But I'm also not opposed to completely blacking this thing out and making it really ultimately what I'm looking for. So anyway, there's a lot to unpack there. I know I'm just kind of spewing shit at this point, but ultimately, I'm at a crossroads right now with this truck. I love this truck. I think it's awesome, but I do also think that, I'm not bored. Bored is the wrong word, but I want to do something and continue to build this truck as I intended it to be built from day one on this channel. And so I'm looking for your help and looking for your support to make that happen and give me the ideas to ultimately make it come to reality, right? And that's where we're at. There's nothing much else to say. I really just need to go to the drawing board and understand what it is that I want, what it is that'll make me happy, and I guess just swipe my damn credit card and make it happen. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all have any ideas, please drop them in the comment section down below. If you guys are looking to follow along with this build, many builds to come, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified every single time we upload a video here on Gearbox. Once again, please, please, please be vocal in the comments. That's going to help me tremendously. A lot of the other cars and other projects I've done, I've kind of had my mind set up on them. This one, however, could very, very easily fall into y'all's hands. So please don't hesitate to give your opinions, give your comments, and make it happen. But without further ado, y'all, I hope you have a great rest of your day, great weekend ahead, and until next time, peace. 在自己那张脏乱的床，手摆好姿态对我装上了。